Okay, so we're at 22 degrees Leo. We're still in the high degrees of Leo, and so many things are in retrograde, and so many things are still at 1 degrees, which is Aries ruled. 22, the 20 degrees of Leo, 20s are the Cancerian energies, which is all about review also. All the retrogrades are about review. And 22 is a number where it's feelings upon feelings. 2 means feelings, 2 means feelings. And feelings upon feelings. And then they net to a 4, which has to do with Uranus. And yes, you can laugh at that. And it has to do with Aquarius energy. And this entire year has been very prevalent Aquarius energy with this Pluto Aquarius occurrence for the first time in 260 years. Aquarius energy is about belonging versus not belonging. So today, what I am doing, and I encourage everyone else to do this too, because it is time to be feeling it out. Where do you belong versus where do you not belong? And it's so easy to think about where we don't belong, but we don't call it that. We just talk about like the freaking weirdos. So I'll give you an example, and I'll give you 3 examples of what I don't belong with, and then what I want you to do, which is give yourself 6 examples of what you do belong with. I want you to spend at least twice as much energy on what you do belong with. And we're calling this belonging versus not belonging because it really solidifies it for the unconscious, for the subconscious, for our conscious life. It really solidifies what we want out of our existence and our life, and what changes are we bringing to the world. So let's see. First thing I don't want. I want to start with that. I mean, ideally we want to start with what we do want, but like, start with what we don't want because it's easier. So eventually maybe we'll get to where we can just start with what we do want. But we're starting with what we don't want. Okay, so for me, now these are going to be fun and extreme and fun to hear because I live in a really wild town. So like, I think most people might be thinking tonight about, should I do the fast food or should I do dinner at home? Should I make a healthy dinner? Or should I hang out with this friend group or that friend group? Should I go to happy hour with my coworkers or should I go to the gym? Like, no, where I'm at, it's, I don't belong with the sex cult people. I don't belong with any of the cult people. There's so many cults in the area that I live in. I couldn't even take an art class without the teacher handing me this book on Saint Germain and the Violet Flames. And most people don't even know what that is. They're just like, oh, it's a saint. No, Saint Germain was never a saint. Germain is a made-up word that has to do with like Germany. Anyway, the book was full of KKK propaganda. And the book actually was like the textbook for a cult that had a compound around it with militia and militant forces. And they called like the person mother and all this like weird, like way out there stuff. And a lot of the older generations that are kind of like hippie new agers in the area where I live, like they grew up in people's living rooms chanting to like this mumbo jumbo cult crap. Sorry, but that's what it is. Saint Germain is not a real saint. It's like trickster energy. It's like how Shakespeare didn't really write this Shakespearean plays. It was a combination of everybody writing it, and then they like gave one author a name for it. They gave a person a name for like all the works. Well, Germain like was just a made up person, and like they keep changing who they say that this person is, and it's all based in this like creepy like white supremacy thing. Like the first page that I opened up to was like talking about how they're white men who are spreading their seed of their blue eyes and Christianity, and they wear their white robes. I mean, that's KKK stuff. And this isn't an art class, and I'm like, I don't belong with that. Okay, so that was one thing. And I just spent like some time, right? That's creepy, right? Another thing was like, I was like, let me expand, like I love the earth, and like I have alternative religions and spiritualities as part of my heritage, and let me find community. And so I went to like a pagan thing, and like one time I went, they handed out like a literal like anti-Semitic hate symbol on like all these moon water bottles that like the entire community got. And like nobody wanted to like admit that this was a hate symbol, but it's like it's. And then another time I went, they were quoting this Nazi sympathizer. He was actually more than a Nazi sympathizer. He would collect memorabilia from the Nazis. Author. They were quoting him, and then they had us listen to this song by this band that had been called out for white supremacy. They had us listen to the song like 8 times. And then they had us create these structures creatively through an art project with rainbows in them. And then they had us tear them all up and throw them down, and then replace them all with white structures and place them all on a map, drawing lines in between all the white structures. Really creepy stuff. And this was supposed to be like some kind of uplifting, like spiritually inclusive ritual. Creepy. I don't belong with that. Okay. Creepy. And, you know, I don't belong with the gaslighting that goes along with that, or, you know, any of that nonsense. I don't belong with the sex culty stuff, and how every time I start to get into something in this town that I live in that starts to feel kind of cool, these sex cult people show up. And like one time it'll just be like 1 or 2 of them. The next time it's like 3 or 4 or 5. And then the next time half of the group is the sex cult people. And they like, because they've been around me before, they'll stand really close and they'll be like, and I'm like, we're supposed to be singing a song, and the song does not include, and I'm sorry, but people don't need to be doing that. Like, not all up in my face. Like all, it feels slimy and it's gross. So I don't belong with it. And I'm over it. Okay. So what I do belong with okay. So those are experiences. We also want to name the feelings, okay? Because to get through it and to get to the other side, we have to acknowledge that it gave us feelings, because that's what we're on this planet, and that's what we are alive to experience. We have feelings. That's what makes us human. So to disempower those experiences and not repeat them, we have to pay homage to the fact that they brought up feelings. Okay, so the feelings that they brought up, I felt feelings of being smothered. I felt feelings of feeling trapped. I felt feelings of feeling overwhelmed. I felt feelings of feeling grossed out. I felt feelings of feeling scared. And I felt feelings when I was gaslit. I felt feelings, a little bit of feelings of confusion. I felt defensive. So there's those feelings. That's a lot of feelings. Okay. Now I'm going to move on to what I do belong with. Okay. And I want you to do this too. Your examples might not be as extreme as mine, or they might. Who knows what you've got going on? You know, like there's lots of wild things going on in the world. So like you might have some really wild things going on, or it might be, you know, like just, do I want fast food or a home cooked meal tonight? Or it might be, do I want to go to happy hour to the gym? Or it might be, do I want to hang out with this friend group or that friend group? Or do I want to do this project or just chill out and watch some TV shows tonight? It might be either or, and they're all valid because it's your life. And it's the way that our world is going to become more of what we want it to be, on a wide scale, on a big scale, from a eagle's eye view, is by us individually being embodied and being in ourselves and knowing ourselves, and not just being like, oh, whatever you want. I don't care, whatever you want. Like the beginning of the cartoon, The Jungle Book, where like the crows are like, what do you want to do? I don't know. What do you want to do? I don't know. What do you want to do? I don't know. What do you want to do? Know yourself. Know thyself. Okay. So that's what I don't belong with. Okay. Those things. So what do I belong with then? I belong with learning that I haven't lost my voice and having someone help me get my voice back and expand it even further. I belong with relearning how to speak in a way where I'm not saying constantly. Um, um, I'm actually able to like speak again and use my voice. I belong with this. I belong with being able to reach notes that I haven't reached in years, and higher notes and lower notes than I've ever sang before. I belong with someone telling me that they love that I wear all black a lot, and they like to wear all black too. I love that. I belong with people who, like myself, want to center marginalized people and women, and we want to see those people in the media doing well. Most of the time, the media shows those people being tortured and murdered and having to survive horrible things. No, I belong with the opposite of that. I belong with those people being glorified and being centered. And I belong hanging out with people when they look at their guest list, they say, how come out of 237 people, everyone's got blue eyes or whatever, you know? And along that general genre of thinking, like I belong with people who are making concerted efforts to look at the wide scale of things, to look at the big picture and be like, are we truly inclusive? If everybody here kind of looks the same, are we truly inclusive? Or are we making excuses for why we're not taking the time to learn how there are various people that need to be loved differently? Are we really listening to our community, all of our community, not just the community that looks just like us? Are we learning about each other and how we all have different needs and we all need to be loved in a particular way? And are our hearts really open for love that doesn't have to do with basic survival? That's what I'm all about. I'm about the love that has to do with thriving. I'm about platonic love. I'm about the kind of love that is about really caring about the person and not trying to figure out, like, can I use them to get off? Can we use them to, like, for financial reasons? I'm into a lot of people caring about a lot of people and recognizing that things have been unequal for a long time. And I'm into the feeling that comes along with that. I'm into social fairness. Because when we pay attention to everyone and we are looking at the hole in the sock or the things that have been overlooked or have been made to be invisible, when we are tending to that as a society as a whole, we become stronger. I am really into when I dance with my partner and I'm doing tango and we're laughing and we're flirting. The teacher's laughing along with us and she just loves teaching us because it's so much fun to be around us, and we are picking up the steps and our posture is improving and we are back in our bodies, and I am embodied again and I am healing from those car accidents and I am getting my posture back and I am able to walk in a way where my knees feel good and my legs feel good, and I feel good with that. So I just spent a lot of time talking about what I belong with, and a lot of it was stories. So the feelings that go with that is the experience of fairness brings feelings of relief and safety and joy and excitement and curiosity. Because when things feel like it's just like, it's always going to be like the same old thing. It's always going to be the woman getting tortured, or it's always going to be the black person dies first, or it's always going to be that stuff. You lose your curiosity after a while, right? So like you get to have curiosity when people have recognized, hey, things have been like this for too long and let's change it. Like, let's take care of it. Let's all take care of each other. Let's see each other with respect. So like it brings up like all these opportunities for not just freedom, but like curiosity and engagement and safety and excitement and hope and inspiration. I was going to say beauty, but that's not a feeling as much. Inspiration, exhilaration, those are wonderful feelings. So what I need to do is be like, more wonderful feelings. What are those? And that's what I'm inviting you to do too. Between now and the 22nd of August, just keep at it. Keep thinking like about those, naming those feelings that you do belong with, and remembering and thinking of the experiences that you do belong with, and think of it as belonging versus not belonging, and name the feelings, and try to spend more time naming the feelings of the belonging. So like, I belong in warm water with redwood forests all around me and sunshine. I belong with clean oceans that are well cared for, and clean beaches that are well cared for, and seeing the sea life happy and healthy and alive and frolicking in the water. I belong with that. And I belong with seeing the birds. They're free of fishing lines and they're flying free along the ocean's edge. I belong with clean water and clean air and clean produce being grown organically with no pesticides, and being able to like grab it and eat it right off the ground, right out of the earth. I belong with the good stuff, you know? I belong with the smell of eucalyptus, but the eucalyptus being far enough away from the house so I don't have to worry about it falling because it's not from here. I belong with Australian accents, especially when they're real. Very few people fake Australian accents, I think. A lot of people fake British accents. But you don't tell them that. You know, they're just trying to find a sense of belonging within themselves too. And let them. Just let them. I belong with blue skies. I belong with rain. I belong with beautiful weather. I belong with 75 degrees. I belong with it being 90 degrees when I'm in a nice warm salt pool. I belong with the good things. I belong with soft silky sheets. I belong with French linen. The way that healthy fabrics that don't have a bunch of toxins in them feel against my skin. I belong with that. What do you belong with? What do you belong with? What makes you feel good and alive? There's soccer that's going to be happening, and like I'm like, oh, I belong with that. I belong with not being afraid. I belong with courage and safety, and I belong, yeah. So I've just named feelings and associated that with what I belong with. Your turn. Okay? What do you belong with? What do you not belong with?